How you doing, guys? Sorry I haven't been around for a few days. It's been a very, very busy few days, especially with this hurricane that seems to be barrel-assing right towards us. And not too sure if I'm even going to have a house to come back to when it goes through or a job to go back to, much like the rest of the state right now. So right now I'm pretty run down. We've all been pretty busy. But I didn't want to put a stop to the videos just because of that, and I wanted to at least get a few out there before the storm hits. Because in actuality, I'm not too sure how long this is going to shut me down for. So, anyways, before I go on, I haven't thanked my subscribers in the last few videos, but I want to give you guys a great big thanks for supporting this channel. And thank you very much, and your comments as well. Anyways, I was reading some comments on some other channels over the last few days, as well as some other videos, and something just popped into my head about Jehovah's Witnesses, especially at 2 Timothy chapter 3. I think we all know that Jehovah's Witnesses use that quite frequently at the door when they're describing the events in the last days. The funny thing is, Jehovah's Witnesses are very select with that chapter. I mean, let's face it, we've all pretty much know already that as far as boastful, unnatural affection, and pride, that a lot of us have already pointed out that this does point out a lot of the actions of Jehovah's Witnesses, particularly the unnatural affection. Let's face it, when somebody is disfellowshipped or even mocked in the organization, Jehovah's Witnesses have this incredible ability to turn their emotions off, like the person all of a sudden doesn't exist. I always thought that was kind of strange. And you just can't turn your feelings off like that unless you're trained to do so by Watchtower. I mean, I don't care what the excuse is. I mean, sure, it doesn't apply to all of Jehovah's Witnesses, but they certainly act it. But there's a funny thing that I've noticed about 2 Timothy chapter 3. We all know that they always go up to verse 5 and stop right there. It's funny. If you pick up on chapter 6, where it says, they are the kind that worm their way into the homes and gain control over gullible women who are loaded down with sins and are swayed by all kinds of evil desires. Okay, we all know that Jehovah's Witnesses, when they go to your door, and this is how they got me, they will prey on whatever your weakness seems to be. And I actually wanted to do a whole separate video on this, but I'll bring it up now. The one thing I've noticed Jehovah's Witnesses love and they prey on is if somebody had a death in the family. Oh, they got an automatic return visit right there. Because what they will do, they will bring them all sorts of literature on the condition of the dead. They love that, and I have heard that. I have seen people in a car group rush right back to the car. Oh, I got a good return visit. When somebody's family member just passed away. They may have shown remorse at the door, but when they get back to the car, they're all smiles. I always kind of thought that kind of sucked of those people. So that pretty much fits Jehovah's Witnesses right there. Okay, now at verse 7, where it says, always learning, but never able to come to a knowledge of the truth. Now, this is a scripture that Jehovah's Witnesses do use. Okay, as Jehovah's Witnesses, were we constantly studying for the 5 meetings a week? Constantly study until it was embedded into your brain, until the governing butt pirates decided to change the light, and all of a sudden, everything you learned, you had to totally unlearn in favor of the new truth, when they cast aside what was the truth but is no longer the truth. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, you still constantly study. But it's pretty apparent now that no, you do not have an accurate knowledge of the truth, because in reality, you don't know anything. Now, it's funny. I'm going to skip on to verse 9, because this one jumped out at me when I read it. And this is a verse I actually had never noticed before. But it says, but they will not get far, because in the case of those men, their folly will be clear to everyone. Okay, look at the last few years, what's been exposed about Watchtower. Witnesses inside the organization are now well aware that they were NGO members of the United Nations. Can't deny that. They can say all they want about for the use of their library, but any witness with half a brain realizes, okay, it doesn't take to be a member to get access to their library. Hell, all I needed was my ID way back in the day. And of course, I don't have to mention the exposing of all the child abuse cases worldwide. And Jehovah's Witnesses claim that this is just isolated. You're only fooling you because everybody else knows. I mean, let's face it, everyone knows what's going on with this organization. Your governing body wants to hide it and shield you from the information. And still, the more they tell you not to do something, the more apt you're going to do it. Have you ever told a kid, don't touch this, that paint is wet? And how many times has that kid put his hand on the wet paint? Or you leave cookies on the table and he says, don't you touch those cookies. You know there's going to be one or two missing within the next few minutes. And Jehovah's Witnesses, when your governing body tells you not to investigate, not to go on YouTube, not to go on the internet, to do inspection of the organization outside of Watchtower, what are you going to do? You're going to go investigate. And you know how I know? Because you're watching this right now. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, next time you're reading 2 Timothy chapter 3 at the door, why don't you read those other verses as well? Maybe the people at the door really won't catch on, but maybe you will. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you all for watching. And if you come across this video and like it, hit the subscribe button. And I want to thank you all. Hopefully I will hear you soon, be here with you soon after this hurricane comes and goes. But like I said, I really don't know at this point. But thank you, and anybody else who is in the path of this hurricane, I wish you well. And you guys have a good night. I will talk to you later.